Warnings have recently increased in Israel about the Egyptian gecko, which is said to kill everything it encounters in its path, and social media, especially in Egypt, has been abuzz with satirical comics about the dangerous reptile that has haunted the Israelis. But how did the story begin and where did it end? On the 19th of September, the Hebrew newspaper Yedioth Ahronoth was the first to report on the issue in the Israeli media. At the time, the newspaper said at the beginning of its report, the war against the hostile elements that infiltrate Israel is not only the prerogative of the security forces. Various types of animals arrive here as well, often posing a great threat to the ecological balance. The Nature and Parks Authority is now asking for the public's help in fighting the horrible reptiles. Residents of Wadi Araba and the surrounding area are being asked to report if they have seen Egyptian wall geckos, she added. According to the newspaper, the Egyptian gecko was first observed in Israel in 2012 by researchers from Tel Aviv University, who recognized it on the walls of houses in the kibbutz settlement of Ein Gedi near the Dead Sea. The identity of the species remained unknown until 2014, when the student was able to Simon Jamison from catching a number of them. Yedioth said that the Egyptian gecko was detected again this month in the settlement of Eliphas, south of Wadi Araba, near Eilat. The Israeli Nature and Parks Authority was amazed at how the Egyptian gecko moved from Ein Gedi to Eliphas. Were they brought there by mistake? Were they observed in other settlements? In order to understand how the gecko spread beyond the borders of Ein Gedi, the authority is now asking for the help of the Wadi Araba residents. The Nature Authority appealed to the Israelis, saying, if there are areas in your area that have street lamps that attract insects, or there are lighting on light-colored walls, as well as areas where you have seen geckos, please go to the place and try to photograph it with your mobile camera. Professor Shai Imari of Tel Aviv University, who was the first with his students to identify the Egyptian gecko, said, it is a very large gecko and can weigh up to 75 grams, and it eats anything. Anything it can overcome it eats, documenting him eating rats. He added, the Egyptian gecko devours other types of geckos and arthropods, and poses a potential danger to everything that lives in its environment and is smaller than it. The Israeli professor continued, the Egyptian gecko has also been recorded devouring small birds, and it is considered a very aggressive species. They bite hard and reproduce quickly. When we found them in Ein Gedi, there were no other geckos in the area, although there are many geckos that are naturally there, he said. He added, our assessment is that this leper has wiped out all local geckos. It has the potential to cause great harm. Mary considered that the Egyptian gecko has no natural predator. Once it is here, the chances of defeating it are very low. For its part, the Israeli magazine Yom Yom described the Egyptian leper, saying, it was recently seen in the south of Wadi Araba, a new and dangerous gas from Egypt, which eliminates everyone on its way. The public is requested to be on alert and report the place of its discovery. During the past few days, Egyptian social networking sites were buzzing with satirical comics, mixing the lightness of Egyptians with the old hostility to Israel, which a peace agreement signed by the two countries in 1979 did not succeed in erasing, at least at the popular level. In the face of the panic left by the Egyptian leper in Israel, an official at the Egyptian Ministry of Health denied that it was causing such devastating effects, as Tel Aviv claims. Dr. Ahmed Rizk, director of the Agricultural Pest Control Agency at the Agricultural Research Institute of the Ministry of Agriculture and Land Reclamation, said, the Egyptian gecko has existed in Egypt since time immemorial, and we have not heard or noticed any threat to the Egyptian environment. According to local media, Rizk added, these types of reptiles only feed on insects, and insects pose a threat to plants, so feeding reptiles preserves the environment. He denied that the Egyptian gecko was feeding on other types of reptiles or birds. The head of the animal department at the Faculty of Agriculture at Cairo University, Mona Shalabi, confirmed that the lizard is a reptile family, and does not cause the problems in Egypt that they talk about in Israel. Shalabi said, during a phone call to the Happening in Egypt program on the MBC channel, on Tuesday evening, that the lizard is environmentally friendly, feeds on insects and ants, does not feed on plants and has no harm to the agricultural sector, and has no ability to move over long distances. Pointing out that it reproduces at a normal rate and does not raise any problems in Egypt. He also denied that the Egyptian gecko is feeding on other types of reptiles or birds and stressed that these types of reptiles do not pose a danger as long as they are in their natural numbers, but can turn into a pest if their numbers increase, and in this case they must be combated immediately.